Hey guys, welcome to a new review. This time I'm reviewing the newest episode of Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 8, Start to Finish. Now, this was a really good episode. I think that this was possibly the best episode of the entire show so far. I just really like this one. Maybe once I give it a little time, I'll realize that there are other episodes that I like more, but I really like this episode. Okay. Now, I'd first off like to say that I got a few predictions right here. First, I said Deanna was definitely going to die in this episode, and she did. And then I also said that Morgan and Carol are going to fight, and that's going to cause the wolf to get free, and that happened. So, yay to me. Also, one of my subscribers got a couple of things dead on. His name is Hunter's Customs, and he said that Deanna was going to be the only person to die in this episode, and she was the only one to die in this episode. And he also said that Eugene was the one on the radio, and that was correct as well. And, okay, well now I'm going to move on to a synopsis of the story here. Now, first off, we see Sam in his room listening to creepy music. It's Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim. That music was in Insidious. Have you seen the Insidious movies? Then that's the music that plays every time you see that Darth Maul demon. And that is creepy music. It really set a tone for the episode, I think. And from there, we then see a shot of his cookie that has like ants swarming it. And I think that's a metaphor for how you have all these walkers swarming the Alexandria area now. It's just like packed full just for the cookie, I guess, represents all the humans that the walkers want to get in and eat. Okay, now, then we get Rick, right after the wall breaks down, Rick is like falling down to the ground there, and he gets up and yells, "Everyone get into your houses, get safety," and he starts killing the walkers. Then we see Tara and Rosita pick up that construction guy that Rick was talking to, and what happens to that guy? They don't show that guy ever again. I don't know what they did with him, where they took him, but yeah. He also had a cut on his head, so I guess some debris flew off and hit him. But also Maggie has a cut on her leg because we see blood and then she's limping around. I guess stuff just flew off and hit them that we didn't see. There's a lot of different parts in this episode that it seemed like they were expecting the episode to be allowed to go longer, but then they had to cut it short because of some funky reason. Like, there are some inconsistencies, and I think those are, like, one of them. If they had enough time, I think they could have shown stuff hitting them of some sort. Like, why would Rick be on the ground? If something explodes, I can imagine him ducking down, but dropping to the ground like this, that was weird. Okay, then Deanna decides to help Rick while he's killing all the walkers, and she just gets in the way, and at one point she shoots, like, one walker, and it just glances its head and keeps moving towards her. And then eventually she ends up getting wounded, and these walkers grab her, pull her down, she falls, cuts her leg, but then also gets bitten, which we find out later that she was bitten. We didn't actually see her get bitten here. We may have been able to pick it up. I didn't pick it up myself, but I figured something bad was happening there. And they show the saw cut her leg, so anyone who noticed that would have also noticed that she had blood on her side. So, yeah. And then Rick picks her up and he's like carrying her past down the street, and all the walkers are coming after them. And then Gabriel and Michonne join them, and Gabriel is actually pretty cool. You see him killing these walkers, and I'm kind of starting to like Gabriel now. He's becoming useful. All he needed to do to become a good character in my mind was become useful. But then that reminds me of another character that I've been saying that I hate, that now I hate him more. I mean, I thought it was impossible to hate Morgan more, but now I hate him definitely more. It's just, I hate him to the fullest. He's a big waste of time. And then we see other characters act really stupidly in this episode, like Tara, Rosita, and Eugene, but I'll get to that in a second. First I'm going to go over Rick's low storyline here, then I'm going to go over all the other things. But actually right now let me explain where everyone goes. Rosita, Tara, and Eugene decide to go into a garage and close it up for safety, but the door's locked to the garage inside. So first Tara's going to like kick open the door. Rosita wanted to shoot the door open, but then Eugene decides that he'll pick the lock, which it must take forever because like at the end of the episode we finally see the door open and they get in. And then Maggie, she ends up climbing up a ladder for safety and has to kick the ladder down, I think. No, the ladder almost fell up beneath her, so she's surrounded by walkers on the edge of the wall. A lot of people were worrying that she would die because in season 4, episode 8, Herschel died. That's her father. And then in season 5, episode 8, Beth died. That's her sister. So all of her family's dying in these episode 8s. People were thinking maybe now she's going to die in this episode 8. But no, she survived. But she might die in a future episode, though, like the next one or so. But I really don't see it. I also thought Spencer and Heath were going to be in this because of some pictures they had on IMDb. But they weren't in this episode at all. I guess that's for the next episode. We're going to see what happens with them. Yeah, Heath and Spencer, we didn't see at all in this episode. It's weird. Okay, then we see Rick go into the place, locks it up, and Ron was going to shoot Carl in the previous episode. Remember, he pulls out his gun and he's like ready. But because the wall broke down, Carl went running, so Ron didn't get the chance. But then they end up in a garage together, and Ron tries to get the drop on him. He starts attacking him, pulls out his gun gets loose, and then breaks a window while trying to swing a shovel to kill Carl. Breaks the window open, walkers get into the garage, but he locked the door so that once they were in the same house. Let me go over this. All the characters in the same house here are Rick, Carl, Judith, Jesse, Ron, Sam, Gabriel, and Deanna and Michonne. And that's just to help you guys here. And Rick hears the noise. He tries to open the door. It's locked, so he's smashing the lock off with a hatchet. And he's carrying a hatchet around in this episode, which is pretty cool because in the comics, his main weapon, melee weapon, was a hatchet. So he's got his pistol and his hatchet, and that's something that was really big in the comics. So instead of his machete, he's using the hatchet. That's pretty cool. But anyway, Carl decides not to kill Ron or anything, or even fight him. And then once they get back in the house and they have to fortify the door, because now it's not locked, they have to put a bunch of stuff up against there. Now Carl doesn't even tell on Ron. They end up going into another room separately. He takes the gun from Ron, and then they have a discussion where Ron sort of gets out all of his anger, and it seems like they've talked, and now he's going to be cool. Even though I would have preferred because the way Ron was acting is really bratty, if Carl were to just clock him upside the head, just give him a nice smack to the face of some sort instead of, not like the shove fight that we saw previously, it would have been cool. But I guess Carl's more of a talker. He's kind of like his dad in the way that he's a bit of a hothead, but he's not like his dad in the way that he refuses to actually fight someone. Rick will jump to a fight almost immediately, it seems. We've seen him fight Shane, we've seen him fight the governor, we've seen him fight tons of people. Let me think. That Joe from that episode where he bit his neck off, he's willing to fight. We can see that. Okay, anyway, from there, we then see, I'm going to stick with Rick's story here, we then find out Deanna's bitten because Michonne was cleaning her wounds, and then she notices it's a bite mark right next to where the cuts were. And Deanna says, well, S. And it was funny the way she said, it's got comedic timing. I like that part right there, but it's also kind of sad and at the same time, because she's going to die from this, and it does start setting in the fever soon. And from there, we then see the walkers break in downstairs, so they have to bring a couch up into the stairs to block them off so that they can't get upstairs. Then they're trapped, so they decide to pull up the walker bodies and gut them open. But first, Deanna and Rick have a little bit of an exchange where Rick goes upstairs and sees that Deanna's not laying on the bed that he had her set on, and she's in the room where Judith was. So he goes in there and he sees her leaning into the crib, and he's like, oh my gosh, is she eating Judith? Runs in there, he's about to kill her, she's like, no, I'm still here. It's like, thank goodness. That was pretty horrifying right there. Okay. And then we do see a nice exchange between them where Rick is talking to her, and where previously she said she asked him why he didn't kill Spencer, why he saved Spencer, and he said because it's her son. She said that's the wrong answer, and then she explains why she said this is the wrong answer. She said it's because he's one of them. He's an Alexandrian now, and he says she says, all these people are yours now. They're part of your group. You take care of them like they're yours. And it was a cool exchange. She also said, she didn't do it because something about his beard being magnificent or something like that. I don't remember it specifically. I'm going to have to go back and check that, but sorry for misquoting everything. Anyway, moving on. After the walkers get up, they decide to pull the walker bodies up there and gut them and put the guts on like sheets and stuff that they hang over themselves. And like curtains, I think, drapes. And they're covering themselves in guts. And then Sam starts acting like a brat. He's like, I don't want to do this. Well, let's grow up, blah, blah. And he's being a brat, so we know that he's going to be a problem. And he continues to be more and more a problem as we move on. He then has a talk with his mom, and the mom's like, pretend you're brave here. And it seems like he sort of understands. She tricks him into believing it. And then they finally go outside. And then Deanna upstairs, once they leave, the walkers are able to go up. And then she hears the walkers in the hallway, so they gave her a gun to finish herself with, you know, in case she starts turning, or when she starts turning. But she decides to open the door, sees the walkers coming, shoots them with all of her bullets, doesn't leave anything for herself, and then they walk up and she's like, yeah, just come and get me, I guess. And she's now going to be eaten alive because she didn't want to kill herself. I guess that's sort of her heroic way of going out. Instead of just being there and dying, she sort of wanted to hold up the zombies. So all these walkers that go upstairs are kind of going to stay up there for a while. Maybe that'll give them a little opening there. But anyway, Rick and everyone else head out into the street, and they're walking, and then stupid Sam starts saying, Mom, 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 what could this kid want? He's talking to her, and it's causing big trouble. So now, then the screen goes black, and that's the end of the episode, and we hear, so we don't know what's going to happen there until a couple of months later, because this is the last episode of 2015. I'm shocked about it. It came up so fast. These 8 episodes, they just zoom by because they're so good. Oh, this is going to be more painful to me than when Glenn was missing, and it's like, what's happened to Glenn for so long? But that was nothing because we still kept getting episodes of The Walking Dead. He was just missing from them. Now, we're not even getting episodes of The Walking Dead. We don't know who's going to die in this next episode. I certainly hope it's not Jessie, because I like her a lot. Okay, but that sort of ends Rick's part here. But then that was intercut with Morgan and Carol's story here, as well as Rosita and all their story. That was also kind of intertwined with Morgan and Carol's. Morgan and Carol started off in this episode, they were like running down the street, and then Carol fell and hit her head. I'm not sure why they were running, though. I could have sworn they were at their destination already, and they would go like into that house, but whatever. That's probably a consistency thing or something wrong with my brain, I don't know. So they run to the house that the wolf is in, and they like go upstairs, and I don't know if Morgan, I guess, doesn't know that Carol knows that the guy's there, maybe? I'm not sure. And she ends up sitting there pretending faking sick, and he decides to just like let his guard off for just a second, and after she's pretended to go to sleep, she then gets up and rushes downstairs. He hears some sort of light switch noise, so he goes downstairs after her, and he sees her about to take out the wolf. She's like in there with her knife ready, so he gets in between her, and then they have a breakout fight where, first off, he like says he's got to stop her, and he won't let her kill the guy, and then she says, I'm willing to kill you to kill this guy, so that other people don't end up being killed, because I'm sick of seeing people die. Now, it makes sense. Sometimes you just have to kill an innocent person, like Morgan, who's not really all that innocent for harboring a criminal here, to save other lives, because of Morgan here, bad stuff happens. So, they have a fight, and Carol handles herself well in the fight up to a certain point where Morgan picks her up and slams her down in a horrible, disgusting manner. It made me want to jump into the screen and choke him to death and stab him. Lenny James, I guess, is a good actor because he makes me want to kill him. Okay, if he's supposed to be playing likable, then he's failing horribly. The writers also are failing horribly because I want this guy dead. I want him dead, dead, dead. Okay, but then after he's knocked out Carol, the wolf gets up and knocks him out. Now, the whole time we've been hearing like conversations between Denise and that guy because they've been in the same room together, and he like discussed to her how he doesn't have to worry about killing them because they're going to die anyway, and his job is to kill everything. So he's just basically tells us that he's the opposite of what Morgan's current beliefs are. Now, because after that he knocks out Morgan, and then Denise is the only one who's not unconscious there, and she talks him out of killing them by saying like, you said we're going to die anyway, you don't need to kill us. And then he seems to like Denise, so he starts taking her with him like as a hostage of some sort. And then that's when Tara, Rosita, and Eugene finally get the door unlocked, and it turns out they were in the same house as them, which I kind of figured. And they get in there and pull guns on the guy, but he gets them to drop the guns because he has a knife at Denise's neck. They kick the guns over. He now has 2 guns and a knife. He walks out the front door with Denise. So if Denise dies, this is all on Morgan. This is disgusting what Morgan did right here. Oh, that bastard. I know it's just a show, but I take shows seriously. That's why I have a channel about it. Okay. So, after that, we see Maggie. Sometime maybe before that, we see that Glenn and Enid climb over the wall a little, and they see that Maggie's all the way over there, surrounded by walkers. So we don't know what's going to happen there. So now, what we have left open is, what is Glenn going to do to save Maggie? What's going to happen with the wolf and Denise? And then, what's going to happen with the people in the street? Rick, Michonne, Gabriel, all of them. Because that stupid kid is saying, Mom, Mom, that's going to cause them big trouble. Okay, and then after the credits, if you did stick around, they warned you that there would be an after credits scene and like different stuff. One of my subscribers told me, and that's what I picked up on. That's how I knew it was there. But you see Daryl and Abraham and Sasha, you see what happens to them. They're like driving in that truck, and then there's these bikers in the street. They stop, and for some reason Daryl stops like close enough to the point where if he tried to get back in the car, he could be shot to death immediately. So they all get out of the car, and the biker guy says, all of your stuff now belongs to us. Every little piece, every tissue in the secret box, all the magazines underneath the chairs, just like everything you have is ours now. So, RPGs, the rocket-propelled grenades that Abraham got, those all belong to them now. They're going to get it, and there's nothing that Abraham, Sasha, and Daryl can do because these guys have the drop on them. If Daryl just stopped way further back and sent one guy down there to see what they wanted, then let's say they captured them, they'd know that they're bad guys, and at least only one person would be captured. Or they could have just turned back and moved a different way. I would not have stopped with a bunch of bikers who are covering the street. Obviously, they want to stop you because they want to rob you. And anyway, the guy says that they are Negan's men. He says all this stuff belongs to Negan. That's how we know they're Negan's men. So, saviors are our new problem. But we don't know how much we're going to see of these guys. Are they going to take Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham hostage? I don't think so. I think maybe they're just going to leave them there with absolutely nothing, and then they're going to have to walk all the way home. We might actually lose one of them on the journey there, but I can't wait for the next episode. I'll have lots of Walking Dead related stuff and zombie related reviews, all sorts of stuff up till that point, so make sure to follow my channel. I will keep you guys entertained until then. Shoot, I'm going to be doing a prediction video for the next episode. I have plenty of time to get around to that. I will update you guys on any new news, and I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If I missed anything, please let me know. Also, if you leave a comment, question TWD related, I will answer it in a video on Saturday. Pretty much any Saturday. Okay, see you guys then. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Said that already. Peace.